So this is round 9 of the U.S. Championship and U.S. Women's Championship. The U.S. Women's Championship, Carissa Yip has 6, Nemtsova has 5.5, Crush has 5, and Tokyo Genova has 4.5. So there's a clear first through a clear fourth. And then, let's see, Lenderman, Sevian, and So are tied for first in the championship with 5 out of 8. And Dominguez and Robson have 4.5 out of 8. So those are the 5 players fighting for first place. Burke and Xiong are tied for last place. In the women's, there's a 4-way tie for last. Megan Lee, Anna Shirevich, Anna Zatonsky, and Tatev Abrahamyan. They all have 3 out of 8. So pretty bunched up. Usually -2 after 8 rounds is in last place. Okay, so Carissa's in clear first. She has white against Ashritha. Crush is white against Nemtsova. And they're in second and third place. That's a pretty important pairing. Choker Genova is in clear fourth. She's white against Pakidze. Zatonsky and Foizor aren't really fighting for the top spots, but they're still fighting for a still fighting. Tatev is white against Shirevich, and Tali is black against Megan Lee. Thanks for the sub. And in the championship, Dominguez is white against Robson. And Dominguez are actually 4th, 5th. So they're half a point behind the top 3. And so this is an important game because whoever wins this game, or whomever, could be tied for first when the round is over. Fabiano's white against Schwiertz. If somehow Fabiano goes on a crazy run and wins his next 3 games, then he can fight for first also. But since he's only won 2 games out of 8, that seems unlikely. Naroditsky has black against So. So pretty easy pairing for Wesley. And he's tied for first, so he has to go for the win. Bruzon's white against Jeffrey. Neither player's having a good tournament. Lenderman's white against Shankland. Lenderman's tied for first. And he's playing somebody who always plays for a draw. So Lenderman will have an easy game, I guess, with a 2 result, either win or draw. And Burke is white against Sevian. Sevian's one of the players tied for first, and Burke is, fighting for last, and he's the lowest rated player. So Burke is very dangerous with white, obviously. And frankly, Karen has arrived. So of the championship games, which ones do you think will be decisive and will not be draws? Let's start with the top one, Caruana Schwiertz.
I think it will be decisive.
Yep. And then Dominguez Robson.
I think it's going to be a draw.
Okay. Wesley white against Naroditsky.
Decisive.
Yep, for sure. Bruzon Chong. Their names rhyme.
I think that's going to be a draw.
That's correct. Lenderman-Shankland.
Decisive.
Maybe. And then Burke Sevian.
Draw.
Karen's got like 3-3. She thinks 3 decisive games. Okay, Burke played E4, which he likes to do. And he's very well prepared with white. And Sam plays E5. So far, Burke's games with E4 have been very slow Italians. And he sort of got run over by Wesley So. So it was slow, and then it was So. Okay, and then Fabiano played C4 against Schwiertz, which obviously is explosive. Fabiano won recently his game with Ray Robson 3 days ago by playing C4. And Schwiertz plays knight f6. Dominguez Robson, will it be a Scotch, an Italian, or a Rui Lopez? Strangely, the answer is fries. Yeah, and it was a Italian, I guess. It would be funny after bishop c5 if Dominguez plays b4. He won't play b4. The reason it's funny is that Robson has played b4 before, right? Yeah, true story. I'm going to order food at some point, and so when I'm eating, Karen will take over and give her insights.
Yeah.
You can ask her questions, and she'll answer them. Yeah, there won't be an Evans Gambit this event. Okay, and then we have those Grunfelds that are like double Grunfelds. All right, so in this position, instead of playing d5, if you want to play a Grunfeld, he played castles. Now you can't play d5. You could play c6, d5. You could play d6, King's Indian, c5, Benoni. He played knight c6, which is not a move that I know. And after d6, that position I know, because that's a King's Indian normal variation. But he played d5. So he waited for Lenderman to play knight f3, because now d5 is not protected. So they transpose into the main line with this interesting move order that I don't know. Normally, black plays d5 before knight c3, and then we'll get this position anyway. But he waited till knight f3 was played, and then he played d5. Yeah, okay, and this is, if you guys remember, and you don't, this is following the game Toker Genova versus Carissa Yip. Carissa's only loss of the event. And after d5, I know moving the knight. I don't. E4 is fine. I just don't know it. So I mean I know that Sam's playing for a draw, but I don't know this position. So this just seems like black is slightly worse after something like takes, rook b8, and black has compensation for a pawn, because he's got a lot of activity. And this is slightly better for white, and I guess Sam thinks he can draw this position, and he probably knows about 20 more moves. It's good to know every move of every variation. That doesn't hurt. Lenderman doesn't seem very familiar with e4, because Lenderman plays very quickly, and he stopped. If he was ready for e4, he would be moving now. So one idea is if I take this, you take that. And then that's, strategically very exciting. Yeah. So sometimes black gets really passive here, like in Carissa's game. And Sam is like, I'm not going to be passive, but you're going to be passive. And then Lenderman said, no talking. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is whenever I see good versus evil, I root for good. Not sure why. But then that doesn't work out. So, truth hurts. It's funny, one of those Marvel movies, the guy who's big, he was the evil guy, but I liked him, so I was rooting for the evil guy. Nobody knows what his name is, but he's good.
Yeah. I don't like any of those movies.
Yeah, Thanos, yeah. Thanos killed everybody who ever lived, but I was still rooting for him. Yeah. Evil always wins. That's right. Joan Baez? Wait, what? How did Joan Baez get in there? Huh? Yeah. Evil. Yeah. All right. And then Burke Sevian. Burke always plays boring Italian. Ugh. Or some kind of Spanish. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's only half the population. Donald Rumsfeld's pretty evil. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing beats rock. Etc. Now let's go to the women folk. Crushes white against Nemtsova, and both players are playing very slowly. C4, and then some kind of Dutch, and then G3. And then neither player ever moves. Yeah, these players, Crush is in third, and Nemtsova's in second. So if either player loses this game, the fight for first is over, the loser. And if this game is drawn, they have to hope beyond hope that Carissa Yip loses. Then they'll be like, good. Then it'll be exciting last two rounds. That's good. The second and third place players are playing on round 9. Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Crush, what a great name. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then Tilker Genova versus Pakidze. It's going to be, a Grunfeld or some kind of King's Indian. Even Nazi doesn't know. She's like, D5 or Bishop G7. Okay, and Yip's already won. No, I'm just kidding. This is a Karo Khan. And Black played Knight F6 and EF6. It's the Tartakower variation. Not the most common. But some people do play E takes F6. And White is clearly slightly better. Very slightly. Now, as I said earlier, every day, Carissa likes a lot of action. She doesn't like boring.
Mm-hmm.
So Black castled King's side, H5, putting in an H. That prevents Bishop takes H7 check. Can't argue with that. So then Carissa castles Queen's side, because she likes to play double-edged chess. And she wants to play G4 and F4 and H4 and so forth. Now, White doesn't have any advantage here. Black plays Bishop E6, attacking this pawn. White probably plays King B1. Queen A5 attacks the pawn again. And Black can play on the Queen side and attack Black's king. It's just a double-edged kind of game that Carissa likes. Carissa playing instantly every move. And after Bishop E6, she ignored this, the Bobby Fischer in reverse, and she played G4, recommended by Matt Larson. Yeah. Okay, so the engine doesn't like White here, but Carissa's moving instantly every move. I'm not sure if this is her prep. And it says after Bishop D5 attacking the rook that White should sack the exchange. But Ashritha played H4 reasonably quickly. She didn't want the position opened. This would have been interesting to see if Carissa would have played Rook G1 or sacked the exchange. The idea after Rook G1 is now you play H4. She played H4 anyway. And then if White sacrifices the exchange, then, we have an open G file, we have an extra pawn, H6 is coming, and the bishop isn't here to attack the White king. Now, the engine prefers Black, but it's very complicated. I'm guessing it would have been Rook G1 and then H4, but she just played H4 right away. And I can't tell if this is prep by Yip or she's just playing really fast and aggressive. Okay, and she played Rook G1. So she's totally ignoring this. She literally doesn't care about that. I mean, one issue is the bishop gets trapped, B3, and it's attacked. And the other is she doesn't care anyway. She's just like, I'm Carissa Yip. Yeah. Yeah, she's currently being sued, but Carissa is, by the estate of Rick James. Yeah. So... delicious. Let's see, did you want to opine on this position? You like White or Black?
I like White, but it looks like the engine prefers Black.
Mm-hmm. And the reason the engine likes Black is this is somewhat anti-positional. Like this pawn is no good, and this pawn stops Knight G3 and Rook G3. Black has all these pawns in front of the king. Black almost has a threat. And the reason the engine likes Black is that the engine literally doesn't care about attacking unless it sees the end.
Okay.
So Carissa's like, I'm going to attack. I'm better than my opponent. I'm better tactically. It's a very complicated position, so I'm going to win. And the engine doesn't think like that. The engine calculates a million moves ahead and says, I don't believe in White's attack. It only believes in two things.
Yeah?
Yeah, Yoko and John Lennon. Yeah. I don't believe in Beatles. I just believe in Yoko and me. So, yeah. Look where that got him. Etc. Black's attack is easier than White. I like White. So, yeah, very interesting. The engine wants to play positionally, bishop here and bishop here. And just the bishop sits there, and you can't attack it, which is weird, because you'd think,
All those pieces.
yeah. And I think the engine thinks if I go here, then I can push this, or I could just take a pawn. So it doesn't believe in white's attack. Now, if you have black against Carissa, then you might be a believer. Now, since they're both girls, and they're both under the age of 21, instead of being a believer, probably they're believers. Probably. Yeah. Depends how bad their taste is. All right. This is a very, very important game, as is the Crush Them Sova. Those are the number 1 players and the 2 playing 3. So for the standings, pretty important. Again, it's not important for the standings, is this one. Tatev is going all in. Tata's been playing very slowly this tournament, and Sharevich has been playing very quickly. So they played a Sicilian, and Tatev only knows one way to play. Super aggressive. G4, rawr. And then, yeah, white's just playing as aggressive as possible. Black is playing very strange with these moves. Not playing in the center, not developing the knight. White already has a threat. E5 was played. So bishop E3 will be played, then rook C8, and Sharevich will be looking to sack the exchange because Tatev wants to castle this way, but after rook takes C3, B takes C3, that is not too safe. So bishop E3 is forced, then she'll play rook C8, and then we'll see if Tatev does something about her knight, or just says, I dare you to take it, I double dare you. Yeah, one of the engine lines, for example, is rook c8, rook g1, rook takes c3. Good. I don't understand why after knight f6, the engine says here instead of g5. I literally don't understand that. And figuratively. Oh, knight g4. I didn't see knight g4. That's why. Then the bishop has to move again. And then this pawn is hanging. Okay, so this is actually tactically sufficient. If I go here, you threaten my bishop. Mm-hmm. And if my bishop moves, this pawn's hanging. Yeah, so this all works out for black. So she could play knight f6, and then g5 is not possible. Or she could play rook c8 and try to sack here. She also has a very slow plan of a6, b5, and so forth. So Tatev with a super early g4, and then super complicated. All right, and then Megan is white against Talia. And this is also a Sicilian. All right, and Talia has to decide whether she's going to do a double fianchetto or just play e6, bishop e7. The engine says e5 is also possible, and then bishop e7. Probably I wouldn't do that, but it's possible. So this is sort of a weird Sicilian, because white played bishop b5 and bishop e2, and took with a queen. So unusual line. Yeah. It says it's the canal attack. So the only 2 places it was popular this opening, Panama and Suez. And that's it. Ridiculous. Why no one plays the Mora Gambit? Number 1, you misspelled Mora. That's one reason. And the other reason is the Mora Gambit loses a pawn, etc. Exciting. So which game is the most exciting, Karen? Or are they all too exciting? This one just got exciting. Look at that. This is Fabiano and Schwiertz. B4. It was funny. Fabi almost got in trouble because right before he played B4, which he had special analysis on, he was going to show it. He said, "Excuse me while I whip this out." And everybody screamed that it was B4. So now Schwiertz will think until his time runs out, and he'll lose on time on move 7. One thing grandmasters do that none of you do, because you're not grandmasters, is they play theory relatively quickly sometimes absurdly quickly. And then when they're out of theory, they never move. Because that's the first time in the game they're thinking, and they have to figure everything out. Then when they figure everything out, then they can move. But Schwartz does that a lot. Schwartz doesn't know the move before. So he's just thinking forever. The idea is this knight is overworked. It's defending this pawn.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take this pawn, you'll lose that pawn.
Okay.
And you don't have to take the pawn. You could also play bishop d6 or bishop e7. So he's thinking about, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And he's probably even thinking about e4 and bishop d4, which is not approved by the engine, but it's reasonable moves. Yeah. I can show you a funny example from my own games because when I was black, I used to play I don't play e5 really anymore, but 35 years ago. And I had this position once, and I played bishop d4 and c6. This was when I was like 15.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having this position. I was playing Gunitellica. I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. It's like Goonitellike or something. He's like 2200 and I was 2400, I guess. And I ended up winning, but I like these weird positions right from the beginning. And my favorite game in this line is my game with Zurab Azmaiparashvili, right? And here's how that game went. He played queen b3, and then knight here, and then here, threatening my pawn. So I always play bishop f8. And he played f4. This was in a tournament in Belgium. It was a slow tournament, but okay. And then he told me Kasparov said this is good for white. That was whenever I lived in Belgium, so 30 years ago. And the engine doesn't agree with Kasparov. But I played the funniest line. The engine doesn't like it, but it's the funniest. That's more important. I played here, and we got this position. See?
Mm-hmm.
So he's up a pawn, and he has 4 center pawns, right? That's because he's a real square. Okay. Now I'm threatening here and here. You agree. Mm-hmm. So he played queen b3. The engine says king f2 is the best. That's what you would play. Okay. Then I played check. Okay. If you play g3, I said if. I go here, threatening this rook, and threatening the other rook. He's got 2 rooks, one for each of me to threaten. So after here, he played king d1. There's the position you don't see every day, right? And the engine says it's about equal. And we drew a very long game, like some rook and pawn ending. He was a lot higher rated than me, so I was pretty happy to draw. But I was happier to get this position because the chess has an endless, And if you guys want, usually I don't let you guys take over the chat. If you want to show me a game you played 35 years ago that you have in your memory, just post the moves in the chat. All right. Anyway, so he played knight f6 first, but then played bishop b4. This is more standard. But b4. Okay, so they traded everything. Knight takes, bishop takes. You could also play e4 here, but bishop takes is a little better, I guess. Takes. So this is Fabi's preparation, and Schwartz doesn't know it. And the engine says it's about equal. It's very similar to variations in the orangutan, where white plays b4 on move 1, e5, bishop b2, takes. You get the same kind of pawn structure. All right, so black is about equal, but it's a position he's never seen before that Fabi should know pretty well. That's why he plays unusual lines. Yeah. Look, just because you were not born, terrible. 35 years ago, I was 50. This guy's claiming he's 85. What do you think?
What did he say? I'm sorry.
He said 35 years ago, he was 50.
Yeah.
That means he's 85 and he's watching Twitch. Doesn't sound like an 85-year-old. Could be. That could be the guy who comes here a lot, not Joe, the other one.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't see him as being on Twitch, though.
Yeah. Well, maybe. He's internet savvy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, it's Ben, right.
Hey, I wonder when Spencer's coming in here. The food, because he's going to sit in while you eat, right?
Yeah, I didn't order yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought I'd order a little later.
That's fine.
All right, so Ray plays the moves you like to play. H6, G5. Oh, wait, you're not Archer. Never mind. Okay, so this is Dominguez Robson. They played Italian or some kind of Spanish. And then G5, unpinning. Okay, so if this was a blitz game, I would definitely go here. Now, the problem with this piece sacrifice is this pawn's not on D6. If it was, probably would have played it. Now we can play bishop E7, and then that sort of puts the kibosh on his attack. Yeah. So Dominguez played bishop G3 and D6. Yeah. Yeah, Dominguez always plays solid and correct, and Robson likes to play super aggressive. So Robson's weakened his king a little, but this bishop is trapped. So he's like, all right, bishop's trapped. So the engine says white's slightly better, but this is Ray Robson kind of chess. Mm-hmm. And some other guys, Burke will play this with black. Yeah. All right, this is Wesley versus Naroditsky. The two knights. Okay, and now Naroditsky, I heard, I don't know if it's true, I read on Twitter, that his preparation this game was to watch Fox News. Huh? Naroditsky, and after he watched it, he decided he would play a little crazy like Fox News.
Yeah.
Now remember the other game when White played bishop here, H6, bishop here, the Robson Dominguez game we looked at. Mm-hmm. Well, he played H6 and G5 because he felt like it. Had nothing to do with bishop G5. So Wesley played D3. Danya played this super unusual H6, recommended by Mike Kummer. When I say recommended by Mike Kummer, that was not a joke. Yeah, Mike Kummer thinks that this is a blunder and this is winning because Mike Kummer only teaches kids who are like 700. So technically, Mike Kummer is correct. If two players are 700 and they're kids and they don't know the opening, this will win. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And then like H6, he's like, oh, that's better, right? Okay, and then after C3, Danya must have been PO'd, so he played here. And then Wesley said, say what? Yeah. And they told Danya in prep, you can't play that. Your opponent's one of the top players in the world. And Danya said, so? And they were like, yes. Okay, so as you all know, when somebody plays on the flank, you attack in the center. So he attacked in the center. D4. So Danya thinks he's playing 1 minute against me, but he will learn that he's not. Okay, then D6, and Wesley plays the most boring move, because that's who he is. He plays D takes. Black plays D takes. And Wesley has to guess whether he's better in this end game or he could move his queen somewhere and play the middle game and so forth. Yeah, and I still didn't get coffee.
Oh, I forgot about it.
I forgot too.
I can go get it. No. So, you want me to go?
Nah. That's for the players, but yeah, make sure the players don't get any coffee. Now, if you were white here, mm-hmm. would you trade queens, or would you move your queen somewhere? Or knight BD2, just not trade queens, basically.
I wouldn't trade queens.
Now, Wesley likes to trade queens, but Wesley likes to win against players who have black that he should beat, so he might want to keep the game tricky. On the other hand, Danya's pretty good when it's tricky. So I don't know. That's why he's thinking a long time. He's like, this is the move that I like, but I need to win this game. I got to get first place in this tournament. So like if he was playing Magnus, he would play here. Because he doesn't, he doesn't want to lose. He wants to make sure he can draw at all times and maybe have the 1% chance to win. But he figures Naroditsky can't beat him, so maybe he won't trade. Yeah.
So, are the two things related? The fact that it looks like Naroditsky wants to trade, maybe pushing the pawns around. I wasn't really sure why I was pushing the pawns.
Who, Naroditsky?
Yeah.
He's getting his attack going. You know, it's non-existent attack.
So, what do you think is the right move?
Well, I don't know if there's a right move, but I think Wesley will do that because he's
The
Wesley.
best move. Okay.
Yeah. Then actually there's some tactics that are complicated. Like king takes loses this, but then this is hanging. But then black has an isolated pawn. And knight takes would lose this, but this is hanging, and this is defended now by the knight. So this would just be a trade. The engine wants to play h4 here and soften him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Wesley's analyzing those lines, and if he thinks he's better, he'll do that. But Wesley will lean towards that because, like, when he plays white in a QGA, he's always trying to trade queens. Yeah.
Is that because he likes endgame?
He likes endgames,
He
yeah.
does?
Yeah. Also, some players, he doesn't want to have any losing chances. I don't think Naroditsky's that kind of player. Naroditsky's 26-23. He's not 28-23. So, you know. Yeah, so Wesley's torn. He's not going to move because he's like, I like trading queens, but maybe I shouldn't trade queens or I'm playing Naroditsky. If he's playing Naka, he'd be trading queens all day.
Okay.
In fact, Naka would play h6, g5, and then choke on his own rage. Yeah. I think it's technically better not to trade queens, but he likes to trade queens.
Danya beat Fabi. Anything could happen, says the worst in chess.
Anything can happen in any game, that's right. Yeah.
I
That's what we call an outlier. Yeah. Normally, if you said Danya beat Fabi, you would just be a liar. But since he actually did, now that's an outlier. Thank you. He's trapped in a Carly Jepsen song. That would be bad.
He's torn.
Yeah, torn's not Carly Jepsen.
Natalie and
You're correct, yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, Carly Jepsen sang Unfortunately Call Me Maybe.
And that's right. And I'm gonna have to, as an aside, B- on that song.
Which one?
Torn.
What about Call Me Maybe?
I don't know that one well enough. I know it.
What about the actor R.I.P. Rip Torn? And his first name is R.I.P. So that's R.I.P. Torn. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died though. Yeah. Rip Torn's not your favorite actor?
I'm not sure.
He was a holiday drunk if every day was a holiday. Then.
I can't place him.
Yeah.
Better the name.
Did you see the movie Defending Your Life?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he was in that. Yeah. Okay, so he played Queen E2, not trading queens, and so forth. And Danya's actually resigned. Wow. No, I'm just kidding. He'll resign later. Okay, Bruzan Zhang and Pray for Rain. It was a French or some kind of Spanish. And they played the Tarash. DC5. The most famous game with DC5 is Kasparov Anand, and Anand won with black. People usually don't play DC5. That's unusual. Okay, queen takes. All right. This also reminds me of the Naroditsky Shetty game that I referenced in another stream from the U.S. Junior Championship circa 2014. I don't know. That's one of my favorite games. All right, so neither player's in theory, and it's very boring, and the boring world of Niels Bohr. So, the game doesn't matter for the standings, and the position's boring. Terrible. But it is old versus young. All right, so all that stuff that I said would happen did happen. Here. I said this. And that happened. Okay, and then Lenderman played knight d5. And this is still in Shankland's prep, because Shankland moved instantly. Okay, he played bishop g4 attacking the rook. And Lenderman played a tactical trick, f3, which you should never play. The trick is if you take it, I check and discover to attack your bishop. Okay, so Shankland didn't want to lose his bishop, so he retreated it. Always retreat. And then e4 was played. Could also take this pawn. And then, White's development isn't very good. He's up 2 pawns. Okay, and then Sam is thinking, and what I'm guessing is Sam knows this position and he knows this move. And then after here, he's like, I don't know that move. So now Sam will think forever. So Black's down a pawn, but he has this good compensation. And these pieces suck. And the engine says you can take or play knight c4 or play knight takes, and all the ways are about equal.
So what would be the downside to taking the pawn?
On c7?
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
I mean,
You could take the pawn, but now you're unleashing the latent potential of the bishop, and you're lining these pieces up. So I would play bishop c4, because I don't want you taking my bishop.
Okay.
Also stopping knight a6, which doesn't need to be stopped. Now, if it's Black's move, rook to c8 is a little bit of a skewer, right? Okay. So in this position, it's hard for White to do anything good because it still can't move these pieces out. I'll give you the engine line. Bishop b5, rook f d8. So here's the issue. In this position, White doesn't have any back rank, just the rook. So if Shankland can play rook to d8 and trade rooks and play rook d1, that would be good. So Lenderman makes sure that no rook can ever come down here by playing e4 and solidifying his knight. If he plays knight c7, then his knight isn't solidified. So not only are these pieces lined up for a skewer, but if I play rook to d8 and we trade rooks, you can't really stop rook to d1. And then you don't want that to happen. So it's hard to play something to d5 because Black has all of his pieces on it. And this pawn would be hanging anyway Now, there's nothing wrong with knight takes c7. But this is still in Shankland's preparation. And he forced White to play f3 because that opens the 7th rank. So if Black's rooks get down here, that's bad for that. Okay, and he played e4, which I guess... Okay, so Sam played knight c4. Black's down a pawn, but Black has a lot of pressure on b2. So very complicated position, which Sam seems to know pretty well, and Lenderman does not. But there's so many trades, it's likely it's going to be a draw. So here's one of the engine lines. Takes, threatening the rook. And if you move the rook, then your rook's going to be trapped here because I'm going to move the knight, discovering on your rook, and my rook is defending b1 then. So your rook's trapped. So he has to take. Okay, then bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, rook b1. So now we have a position where it looks like Black is just up a pawn, White is just up a pawn, but because you traded on e6 and never play f3, we could take on f3. And then both players agree to a draw. If White blunders with this, see? Then this is check. And it's funny because White's not losing here. White plays here attacking this rook.
Okay.
And it's the most drawn position of drawn positions. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Yeah. Okay. So these are all petering out to a draw with opposite bishops. And that's what Sam's hoping for, an easy draw with Black. Yeah. Now, it's like when Homer was a boxer. You don't want to get into a boxing match here, right? So this is a chess game. That's not what Sam wants. Sam wants to play 35 moves of prep, and then the engine says all zeros every move. There's no reason to keep playing. Okay, and he achieves that a lot because Sam has a lot of prep,
Well,
and he still has move 17. He still has all his time left.
I hope it's decisive because I said it would be decisive. Come on, Lenderman.
I'd like to point out something I can't believe I'm pointing out. Yeah, I'm going from a liar to an outlier.
Hey.
Hey, look, I'm going to say something I can't believe I'm saying. This is round 9,
Yeah.
and Lenderman's still undefeated.
I
What?
can't believe you didn't say it was round 9.
Yeah.
Hey, if you sit behind, are you still on? Or if not, I'll let you sit. We can do it and I'll sit behind.
So
Let's look at
it's Spencer. So Shankland prepared the whole game.
Classic Shankland.
Hey, do you know this move? Like, this is that Grunfeld position.
Uh-huh.
And he played e4, and then
I mean, even at E5 is a little early there, but
yeah,
that's a
and,
move.
right, and then Lenderman started thinking.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
Right, and then this is that they played all the engine moves.
Yeah.
And by they played, I mean Shankland instantly played all the moves.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
Alt F4 Pro, Bishop takes, Schneider, etc.
Then he instantly played Bishop G4.
Yeah.
Then after F3, you can't take it because of 97.
Uh-huh.
But he knew that.
Yeah.
And so this is funny. If you ever take this, I play Bishop C4.
Yeah.
Now your pieces are lined up for a skewered. If I play Rook to D8, it's hard to, get out of there. It's hard to stop the Rook from infiltrating.
Okay.
So he played E4. Okay, then here, and now after here, it's like already a draw. The game's over. Yeah, he goes here. He didn't do it yet, but this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't move the Rook because your Rook's in trouble here.
Yeah.
So you take.
Okay.
You can't move the Rook because Bishop A2. So
Uh-huh.
you take.
Yeah.
Take. And now you know I never to play F3.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can't play Rook D2 because Bishop D4 check.
I thought it was going to be Bishop D4 check even.
You could, but
last
then
move,
King
but
G2.
King G2, yeah.
And now it's the deadest of draws.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Shankland just prepared to a draw. Pretty good with black.
Yeah, but also pretty good for Lenderman to figure stuff out.
Mm-hmm. He figured out white has no advantage in chess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this just draws immediately.
Dang.
And then that all is forced.
Darn, I
He's-
called it wrong. He asked me to name each game. Like,
It's going to be a draw or decisive.
Right.
She said decisive.
That's a
Look-
good bet.
Look what Fabi did in this position with white.
Uh-huh. Pretty normal.
Bam. And then Schwartz is like, what? Then
Yeah.
Schwartz started thinking a long time.
But now Fabi's thinking, so he must have done
Yeah, but
something.
no, this was all Fabi's prep. Yeah, and then he's
Thinking.
yeah. This is weird because he didn't think up until here.
Well,
I mean,
maybe
that's-
Rookie 8's not best.
Yeah, but that's fine. This reminds me of B4 E5. I move 1.
Uh-huh.
Bishop B2 take in this pawn
Yeah.
structure. Yeah, because our good friend plays that if he's alive.
Yeah.
If he's not, he was our good friend. Who's the guy? He's our good friend. What's his name? Kokomo.
Oh, yeah.
He's always playing B4.
He would
Bishop
actually
B-
play Knight F3 usually on move 1.
Ooh,
and
stopping.
then B4 on move 2.
Oh, prevents very.
Yeah,
You think he's alive?
I'd bet on it.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Wait, you bet he was alive?
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
alive.
What?
Yeah. See, I won the
Look him up.
bet.
All right, but there's another guy on Facebook who's not alive. His Facebook just sits there.
Oh, that's true. They
Yeah,
used to not sit
the
there.
guy in North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw him post about it.
Anyway, I talked to Pearl GM, and they told me that he was still alive.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
So Fabi will figure some way to punish this. What does it say is the best? 93?
Yeah, it says always retreat. Then this is okay.
Yeah, I'd want to play Bishop B2 because I think that he weakened F7.
Oh.
But, you just play D6, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter too much.
Boring.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the women folk. So C4 F5 opinion.
Mhm. Well, you know the line E4, FE, Knight C3, Knight F6, G4?
I've seen it.
It's a real line.
Yeah. Spencer's referring to this, something.
Yeah.
So if
There it
this
is.
pawn was here, and
That'd
this
be
pawn
better.
was here, and this pawn was here, that's the Saruhan Mamajarov game.
All of those things would help white.
Right.
All
That's
four things
that's
help white.
that's Saruhan Mamajarov.
Yeah.
Yeah. One. Also, it's Finegold Benjamin.
Hmm. As opposed to Benjamin Finegold.
That's right. Yeah. What was his name? Richard Benjamin.
Richard, yeah.
I thought that was the actor.
Well, I don't know about all that.
There is an actor. Yeah.
So this would have been the best play,
No,
but instead Crush did something normal.
I want to try to explain something, then I'll give you the kicker at the end. This engine says black's better.
Mm-hmm.
Then the engine says 99.7 to 76.7, which would put it at odds with itself. But it's not saying this about this, I think.
It's saying it about the game.
It's saying it about the actual game, right? Thanks, Castling, for betas. 5 subadoos.
Good name, too. These soy boys are always castling,
It doesn't seem like Black's playing 76. Black's playing all right.
That seems totally normal.
Yeah.
The only move that's in question is the last one, which also seems pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the first move is obviously risky. But
You gotta risk it, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I like Crush not moving her knight right away, confusing the audience.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Hayden gifted 2 subs. Yeah. Alright, and
King's
she
Indian
ended
here.
up playing the King's Indian, Pakidzi. She's in
H3.
clear 4th.
Go Tokyo Genova.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting for her. She's my hero. My Tokyo Genova.
Alright, so let's see if Yip has won yet. So her opponent played the Tartar Cower.
Oh yeah, this is the game. This is the game Doric against Ethan, but Doric actually didn't take on F6. He played Knight G3. I've never seen that.
Yeah, then H5.
Yeah, they're doing that.
Yeah.
They've been doing this.
And
This
then
is the thing to do.
Carissa likes to play aggressive.
I don't really understand H5, but you see Super GMs play like this.
Yeah. H5.
Even after castling and everything.
They're both playing pretty quickly. It's hard to play as quickly as Carissa. A3, Rooks, yay. Always play King B1. Now I know who I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
Thanks, Farty Party, and trying to learn 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yay.
Bishop H2. She put it in H.
It's a weird move.
Yeah, now they're definitely going to repeat and draw. There's no question about it. Except for one thing.
Even Rick G1 would be totally illogical. Now the threat is F4.
The engine thought black was better like 5 moves ago. Now it does not think black is better.
I mean, Bishop H2 didn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
I was wondering about it too. Why it was just
She
hanging
probably
out.
expected rook here, then go back, then bishop d5 to get a tempo later. But the engine was always playing this way with black. Bishop d5 to f3.
But instead, white moved the rook to the center.
Mm-hmm.
Good strategy there.
Yeah.
That's how you get to 2400.
Yeah, so white is clearly slightly better.
Jason.
Thanks,
thank you.
bishop takes. You're the best. Yeah.
Scottish Demon Goat knows about it.
Wait, what are all those icons? Flaming Heart, then Spinster, and what is that one?
It's a person like kissing or something,
Aw,
right?
I couldn't tell from here.
There was a guy on here. Here's what he said.
Okay.
I showed him a game I played 35 years ago,
Classic.
and then I made fun of the audience. And then,
Wait, this was your stream?
yeah,
Oh.
then the guy said, I was 50 years old 35 years ago.
Okay.
So I was wondering if it was, what's his name from here? Not Joe, the other one.
Philip.
What do you think? And then she said, he wouldn't be on Twitch.
He wouldn't be.
I don't know.
And I
maybe.
think he might. Well, I think he would announce himself though.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's not a shy boy.
There's more than one 85-year-old in the world?
That's true.
No.
Playing
On
chess?
Twitch?
On Twitch?
Yeah.
From
yeah.
here?
Maybe.
Yeah. I was also 15 35 years ago. Also? What do you mean also?
Yeah, he said 50, not 15.
Yeah, come on, Quizhead. All right, so this is good for somebody.
White.
Yeah. This is the boring world of Niels Bohr.
Also, white's a little better there.
Well, C5. That's
Yeah,
not-
usually it's CD, right?
Yeah, C5 is not very common.
But yeah, I like white.
Don't they play C5 here?
Oh, I don't know this position.
I think you
This
play
is a move.
C5. Let's see, the engine says C5 and CB are
ET
similar.
Wizard.
It says this and this are the same. We're the same, you and me. We're not the same. I'm a war veteran. You're an insane. I can't say what he said, but falling down. You saw Falling Down?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh,
No, I
yeah,
didn't
that's
see it.
good. Yeah.
I finally saw it. It was
Yeah.
pretty good, but I don't
Yeah.
worship
The Army
movies.
Navy store guy was talking to Michael Douglas, says, we're the same. Michael says, we're not the same. You're an insane lunatic Nazi bastard. And I'm like, a war veteran. Man.
Other than that,
Man, he got him good. Yeah, that guy's the greatest actor ever. The that guy. Yeah, I investigated that guy. He's great. All right, now the entrance says C5's better because it wants to listen to me, but pretend it's
Yeah.
not listening to me. Okay,
so yeah, I mean, this is good for white a little bit. Right?
yeah. Also, I would play knight here and then knight here and then knight here.
That makes a lot of sense.
Knight
with
here
the
blocks
bishop
the-
already
blocks
on
the-
B7, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it also controls E4 there. So.
Mhm. And then Anna played castles.
As a London player, Karen would love this position with white.
Hmm. But
She's a good
she doesn't
London.
like when this happens, even when the engine says it's good.
Oh, she could have played bishop G3, so
Yeah.
it's no problem.
Well, I just get worried I'm going to lose my dark squared bishop,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't want to lose.
So you don't want to lose it because if you don't take back, you would.
Well, I don't really feel like also if I end up after I've castled, if I have to take with the H pawn.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a very mundane situation for you, but I always
Pretty
get in.
mundane.
I always get in trouble. I don't defend it properly.
Well, then keep it on F4
They
like how
come
Anna did.
in. Well,
Yeah,
then-
she kept it there. Do you think Black's gonna take and give all the
Yeah.
dark squares away, or is she gonna play knight B4 and castles and knight E4?
So she's not going to play knight B4. Because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, attacks the bishop, and then you could play knight E4.
Ah.
Yeah.
No, I still don't like it.
What were you gonna do?
Bishop E2.
Yeah, knight E4. Yeah.
And then just...
Yeah, I got knight E4 in though instead of Black doing nothing the whole game. This is a weird move.
Yeah, I don't
Because
like knight
here
C6.
you play knight
Way
E4
better, yeah.
whenever you want, and you can play B5, knight B6.
To C4.
Yeah,
even.
here you got to do this, but the other one, she could do this if she thinks she's me. Well, think she's me.
Alright.
So clearly, white is slightly better here. All right, now, if you wanted to think about being crazy like Fox News spends,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So Tatsev thought she was Matt Larson here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's a weird move.
Yeah,
Here.
okay, but she's Tatsev. She likes to play aggressive. Then take here. Now, knight F6 is a move because G5 is back as a knight G4,
Uh-huh.
and rook C8 is a move to go here. And then we left, so I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Okay, she played a third move, making sure she could never do that. And also, it unattacked this square, so you can't play it. This move looks just bad. Looks like this is better.
Mm.
Yeah, like here, we're not putting pressure here, and we're not having the C file. Yeah, the engine says Black's lost after this. Because this move
That's
doesn't
not
make any
surprising.
sense. That just doesn't make any sense.
If you want a good movie that I saw recently, at least, The Death of Stalin, you've got to
Yeah.
watch that. You
Yeah.
would love it. It's so funny.
I heard about that.
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi and Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah, isn't
That's all you need to know.
that guy in trouble?
Jeffrey?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
I think he's going to jail or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. But anyways,
Yeah.
the movie's great and he's so good.
Right, and also
The
if you
movie.
see any celebrities, call the police.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty prophetic. Yeah. Okay, speaking of prophetic, that's.
Frankly.
See, the reason you can play knight f6 is that here this is hanging and this is hanging, and then rook c8 you want to sack the exchange, and then this just gets rid of all of her play. Frankly, not the best.
It is on Netflix. No abs,
Mhm.
only kebabs. Only kebabs.
Mm.
I guess you have that's a rhyme, right? Anyways, G4 is like kind of weird for her to play it
Mm-hmm.
without knight already on F6, like in the
Right.
opening.
Yep, I agree.
But whatever.
And then she played f4.
I like it.
This says the black resigns.
I
here.
would play F4.
No, this
in a
says black.
heartbeat.
This says black can resign.
I'd play F4 and I would say boom shot.
Can you believe that white is up 2.5? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was everything she did was wrong.
If you play badly in the Sicilian,
This
that'll happen.
this just made white's play look correct.
It's
Yeah.
even bad because, like, let's say B4 knight D5.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever play knight takes E takes, again a tempo too.
Mm-hmm.
which normally you're not thrilled to play e-takes with white all the time, but it can gain the tempo.
Yeah, Tatev's good when she's checkmating everybody.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Tatev's better with white here than I
A
am.
tempo on the bishop.
I would never have white here because this is too
You
sharp.
got it.
Yeah. Okay. So I just got a text from Chris Bird, and he said Carissa Yip has requested that she sits in Tatev's seat for this position.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That'd be good for Carissa.
She declares prima nocta on this.
Yeah, she's like, wait, I want
She's the
this
strongest,
position. Yeah. Yeah, this is terrible for black. White's got all this. Fred Lindsay said one of the issues with playing the Najdorf, this isn't the Najdorf, is that if your opponent plays badly but attacks you, you could still lose. And sort of like what Tatev's doing. Not the most accurate, but she's attacking,
Just
and then
push, yeah.
black's like, what? Yeah.
That's more of a problem in the dragon, but
Yeah, also a problem. Yeah. All right, and then we had this really weird Sicilian that only Spencer knows.
is it A4?
Here,
Yeah.
and then
Backs it
here.
up, yep. E5, right? Yeah, this is right. E5.
Mm-hmm. This
Yeah.
Talia's black against Megan Lee.
This is the only way to equalize for black in this line. But
So
she
you
knows
like
it.
the way Talia's playing?
I was gonna say I used to play the Sicilian when I very first started
I remember.
playing chess.
I remember. You told me.
I got in so much
The
trouble.
Najdorf specifically.
Okay,
Wow.
now you know what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
I can't show you, but I'm going to find it. And Spencer's going to be taken aback, which he already is.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Okay.
This reminds me of the game I was black against Ray Robson in our match, and it was a Philidor.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, because
Looks like a Philidor.
Yeah,
He played
E5.
DC.
yeah, I put all my pawns
Yeah.
here, and he played takes.
Yeah,
And we
totally.
right, and I had a novelty prepared on move like 24. Anyway, I drew easily.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah, and he was following a Kasparov game that Kasparov won, and then I played a move that's better than Kasparov's opponent. Yeah, it's funny how this looks like the Philidor I had.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, white's less harmoniously placed than
Right, I think Ray's bishop was here. I'm not
The
sure.
queen wasn't.
Yeah,
there.
like pieces were on better squares for
Yeah.
white than this. And I was still equal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so black has no problems here.
Yeah, she knew the theory well, and Megan was
Mm-hmm.
testing her there. But A4 is so topical now that if you're paying any attention, you'll see it
Mm-hmm.
on move 4 there.
Terrible.
Did you know also on move 4, bishop A4 is a move? On move 4.
Oh, this
A4 is a
instead.
move.
Yeah, yeah.
How crazy is that?
When bishop A1, F1 is a move, then I'll be surprised.
But then knight B8 draw.
Bishop A4 was the number one engine move for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bishop A4, crazy.
Yeah. No, I understand. C3, bishop.
Yeah. I mean, and gets out of the way A6,
Mhm.
B5, which is good anyway.
All right, so still theory.
Yeah.
Spencer's played practice games with certain people, but not in this opening, I bet.
No, Talia, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you were allowed to say, but it was before.
I mean, it was, yeah.
It was many years ago. Yeah.
It was many, many years ago.
When you played
It
Talia,
was like 11.
then you were like a lot better than her.
No. I was a little better than she was.
Yeah.
Like a little.
It was only like 5 or 6 years ago, I think.
No, she was like 2150, you know,
Yeah.
USCF at that point, or 2100.
Yeah, because I think she moved to St. Louis in 2010 or 11 or 12.
Mm.
Yeah, she's only like 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then B3. That's my game with Robson.